देखा नहीं ना। We'll sing this beautiful song. It's a song glorifying Nitai. Many of you may have heard. It's called Khoda Nitai, which means um, a Nitai who has opened a marketplace for um, selling the holy name. So we try to see this. Boro sukhe khabo gai, boro sukhe khabo gai. সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে, সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে। খোদা নিতাই, খোদা নিতাই, খোদা নিতাই, খোদা নিতাই। বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই। श्रद्धा मूल्य श्रद्धा नाम से है देविकाए, श्रद्धा मूल्य शुद्धा नाम से है देविकाए। खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय। जता वृत्ता वृंदावासी, जता भक्ता कारी देखे नाम बेचेदारों काशी। खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय। जाड़ी नाम किनबे भाई, जाड़ी नाम किनबे भाई, जाड़ी नाम किनबे भाई, जाड़ी नाम किनबे भाई। आमार संगे चालो महाजे पाछे जाई, आमार संगे चालो महाजाने पाछे जाई। खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय। तुम्हें किनबे कृष्णा नाम, तुम्हें किनबे कृष्णा नाम, तुम्हें किनबे कृष्णा नाम, तुम्हें किनबे कृष्णा नाम। कस्तूरी लोहिब आमी पूर्णा हबे काम, कस्तूरी लोहिब आमी पूर्णा हबे काम। खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय। बोलो दयाल नित्यानंद, बोलो दयाल नित्यानंद, बोलो दयाल नित्यानंद, बोलो दयाल नित्यानंद। श्रद्धा माथा लोय दे परमानंदानंदा, श्रद्धा माथा लोय दे परम आनंदा, श्रद्धा माथा लोय दे परम आनंदा। खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय। एक बार देख ले चक्ष जाल, एक बार देख ले चक्ष जाल, एक बार देख ले चक्ष जाल, एक बार देख ले चक्ष जाल। गौरा बोले निताय दे सकला संभाल, गौरा बोले निताय दे सकला संभाल। खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय। दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा, दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा, दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा, दे कृष्ण, दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा। जाति धन विद्या बाल न कोरे अपेक्षा, जाति धन विद्या बाल न कोरे अपेक्षा। खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय, खोदा निताय। आमानी छाड़ আচণ্ডালে দে নাম নিতাই দয়াময়, আচণ্ডালে নিত্যানাম নিতাই দয়াময়, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। ভক্তি বিনোদ দাকি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদ দাকি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদ দাকি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদ দাকি কয়। নিতাই চরণ বিনা নাহি আশ্রয়, নিতাই চরণ বিনা নাহি আশ্রয়, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। বড় সুখে খাবো গাই, বড় সুখে খাবর গাই, বড় সুখের খাবর গাই, বড় সুখের খাবর গাই। সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নাম হাত কাকু, সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে, সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই। শ্রদ্ধা মূল্যে শুদ্ধ নাম সেই হাতেতে বিকায়, শ্রদ্ধা মূল্যে শুদ্ধ নাম সেই হাতেতে বিকায়, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। যথা ভক্তা বৃন্দাবাসী, যথা ভক্তা বৃন্দাবাসী, যথা ভক্তা বৃন্দাবাসী, যথা ভক্তা বৃন্দাবাসী। আধিকারী দেখে নাম বেছে দারো কাশি, আধিকারী দেখে নাম বেছে দারো কাশি, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। যারি নাম কিনবে ভাই, যারি নাম কিনবে ভাই, যারি নাম কিনবে ভাই, যারি নাম কিনবে ভাই। আমার সঙ্গে চলো মহাজনের কাছে যাই, আমার সঙ্গে চলো মহাজনের কাছে যাই, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম, তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম, তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম, তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম। দস্তুরি লইব আমি পূর্ণ হবে কাম, দস্তুরি লইব আমি পূর্ণ হবে কাম, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ, বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ, বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ, বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ। শ্রদ্ধা মাথা লয় দে পরম আনন্দ, শ্রদ্ধা মাথা লয় দে পরম আনন্দ, কদানিতাই 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 কদানিতাই। एक बार देख ले चुक से जल, एक बार देख ले चुक से जल, एक बार देख ले चक से जल, एक बार देख ले चक से जल। गौरा बोले निताय दे सकल संभव, गौरा बोले निताय दे सकल संभव, कौड़निताय 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 कौड़निताय। दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा, दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा, दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा, दे शुद्ध कृष्ण शिक्षा। जाति धन विद्या भला न करे अपेक्षा, जाति धन विद्या भला न करे अपेक्षा, कौड़निताय 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 कौड़ বিছায়া মারা যায়। গৃহে থাকো বানে থাকো না থাকে জঞ্জাল, গৃহে থাকো বানে থাকো না থাকে জঞ্জাল। ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই। আর নাই কপালের ভয়, আর নাই কপালের ভয়, আর নাই কপালের ভয়, আর নাই কপালের ভয়। আচণ্ডালে দে নাম নিতাই দয়াময়, আচণ্ডালে দে নাম নিতাই দয়াময়। ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই। ভক্তি বিনোদা কি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদা কি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদা কি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদা কি কয়। নিতাই চরণ বিনা আনাহি আশ্রয়, নিতাই চরণ বিনা আনাহি আশ্রয়। ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই। ভোর সুখে খাবো গায়, ভোর সুখে খাবো গায়, ভোর সুখে খাবো গায়, ভোরে সুখে খাবো গায়। সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে, সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে। ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই। বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই, বড় মজার কথা তাই। শ্রদ্ধা মূলে শুদ্ধা নাম সেই হাতেতে বিকার, শ্রদ্ধা মূলে শুদ্ধা নাম সেই হাতেতে বিকার। ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই, ঘোড়া নিতাই। যথা ভক্ত বৃন্দাবাসী, যথা ভক্ত বৃন্দাবাসী, যথা ভক্ত বৃন্দাবাসী, যথা ভক্ত বৃন্দাবাসী। अधिकारे देखे नाम बेचे दारो काशी, अधिकारी देखे नाम बेचे दारो काशी। घोड़ा निताई, घोड़ा निताई, घोड़ा निताई, घोड़ा निताई। It's a very beautiful song. Khoda Nitai. Khoda is a Bengali word which basically means like we say like he has opened a marketplace. So एक marketplace खोला है उन्होंने. So खोला है. So Bengali it becomes khoda. So Khoda Nitai means he opened a marketplace. Where is the marketplace? Surabhi Kunjete Namer Hath Koleche. This is in Surabhi Kunj. So when we go to those who have been to Mayapur, there is Godrum Dweep. It's called Navadweep. There are 9 dweeps. Among them, Mahaprabhu's Janmasthan, which is called Yoga Peeth, that is in Antardweep. And when we cross river Ganga, then across the river there is another dweep. It's called Godrum Dweep. And in Godrum Dweep is where there is a home of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and from where Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw the glimpse of Adbhut Mandir, which is temple of very planetarium is opening there. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur home is also there. It's called Sukhadananda Kunj, the home of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Navadvip is not different from Vrindavan. So there is also Swananda Sukhada Kunj, which is the eternal residence of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That is also there on the bank of Radha Kund, and that is also there in Godrum Dweep. So these two places coincides in spiritual world. Um, Difficult to understand with our material vision, but there is no difference between Navadip and Vrindavan. So there is a place called Surabhi Kunj. Surabhi Kunj is where Surabhi cow, after she begged forgiveness on behalf of Indra, and Indra received the mercy of Lord Krishna after he made a mistake of, when Govardhan Lila happened, he made a mistake of drowning the inhabitants of Vrindavan and destroying them. So then Indra wanted to beg forgiveness, and Surabhi brought him to Surabhi Kunj, um, in Godrudweep. And there Indra did tapasya and Surabhi did tapasya, and they both got the darshan of Gaurang Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Um, After that, Indra went back to heavenly planet, but Surabhi decided to stay there. It is said that Surabhi still stays there in Godrudweep, Surabhi cow. So after that Leela happened, which is 5,000 years back, Nitai came 500 years back, and on the same Kunja, he opened a marketplace. Um, um, so we will read the meaning. Um, Many interesting. Adhikare dekhe naam beche darokasi. Um, Anybody who give the holy name to others receives some commission. Prabhupada used to say a spiritual commission we receive when we give holy name to others. So this is sung by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I am singing news of great happy tidings. Boro Sukhe Khabor Gai. So this is the name of the song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Is with great happiness he is telling us a story. Lord Nityananda himself has opened a marketplace of the holy name in Surabhi Kunj. The news of its great results is that he's selling the pure holy name in that marketplace for the price of only one's faith. Shraddha Abe Shuddha Nam. He is giving Shuddha Nam to those. The only price we have to pay is a pure faith. Lord Nitai, the proprietor of the market, seeing all the devotees become attracted, is selling them the name, holy name, after bargaining with them. What do you want? You want holy name? Okay. How much is it for? Well, the price is your faith. Do you have faith? Yes. Do you have faith in Lord Gaurang Mahaprabhu? Yes. Do you have faith um, um, in Lord Krishna holy name? That holy name is sufficient to take you back to Vrindavan. Um, um, is your faith pure, that there is no other purpose and goal in life other than the love of Krishna in Vrindavan? Yes, okay. Here is the Shuddha Nam that you can get. So he bargains with, and then he gives them Shuddha Nam. Oh brother, if you want to buy the holy name, then go with me. Then go with me. We must go to the presence of that great soul Nitai. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, do you want Shuddha Nam? Then come. We both will go to Surabhi Kunj, and then we'll bargain with the seller, the seller of the marketplace, Nitai. You will buy the name Krishna, and I will take my commission, and all of our desires will be fulfilled. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, you come with me, and you bargain with Nitai, and because I'm bringing you to Nitai and to give you the holy name, I receive my commission there. Just like you open a bank account, and if you are a referral to open a bank account, then you get some award. Or like Dropbox, if you refer somebody to open a Dropbox account, you get some extra GB in Dropbox. Likewise, you refer somebody, Nitai, this person wants your mercy. And Nitai says, okay, do you want my mercy? Yes, Nitai, please. I don't want anything other than your mercy. Okay, this is a holy name. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I will take my commission. And what is the commission? More Shuddha Nam. Lord Nitai is greatly merciful. Taking only one's faith, he gives the highest ecstasy. If Nitai sees only one's tears in the eyes while chanting the name Gaura, then he gives all resources to that person. One time Nitai sees, oh, he's so attracted to Gaurang Mahaprabhu. Then immediately Nitai comes dancing embracing and gives him Shuddha Naam. He gives pure teachings of Krishna to everyone and does not care for one's birth. Um, um, and Janma, Dhan, Gyan, Bala, he doesn't see anything. All he sees is like, okay, do you have pure faith? And um, um, Dehik Krishna Shuddha Shiksha. He gave pure teachings about Krishna, pure teachings. Now giving up the illusory snare of Maya, Maya Jale, giving up the illusory snare of Maya, either remain a householder, Grehe Thako, Vane Thako, or in the forest as a sannyasi, for no more troubles remains. You can be in whichever ashram you are, but once you receive Shuddha Naam from Nitai's marketplace, no more miseries, no more Maya Jal. There is no more fear, bhoya, na kore bhoya. There is no more fear of Kali. The merciful Nityananda Prabhu gives the holy name to even the Chandalas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls out, except for the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, na hoy ashray. Nitai Charana bina na hoy ashray. Without the mercy of Nitai Charana, there is no other ashray. So beautiful song. Sometime you can meditate. We try to sing some of these songs because these songs are considered as like Bhagavad Gita as bachelor and um, Bhagavatam as masters and Chaitanya Charitamrita as PhD and Vaishnava songs are considered as postdoc. So they contains the essence, and that's why we are trying to cultivate the habit of discussing some Vaishnava bhajan. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं शशिरूपं साग्रजातं सहागणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpataru Besha Kripa Sindhu Be Evacha. Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंगायते गिरिम यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्री गुरु दीनतारिणम परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वर. So, continuing the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy, and this conversation goes very, very deep from this point onwards. And some of them went so deep that I just could not contain in the presentation. So, it's a very, very lengthy conversation between Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. After this, there will be one more discussion before we um, go to the next chapter of Mahaprabhu with Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, further continuing the South India tour and others. Purusha Yoshit Kiba Sthavara Jangama Sarva Chitta Karshak Sakshat Manmatha Madana. The very name Krishna means that he attracts even Cupid. He is therefore attractive to everyone, all attractive, male and female, moving and inert living entities. Indeed, Krishna is known as the all attractive one. So something about Krishna and who all does Krishna attracts? Lakshmi, Lakshmi Kantadi Ava Tarera Hare Nam, Lakshmi Adi Nari Ganera, Kare Akarshana. He also attracts Narayan by his beauty, who is incarnation of Shankarshana. We know Krishna to Balaram, Balaram to Mahasankarshana to Sankarshana and then to Narayan. So Narayan is the expansion of Sankarshana and the husband of goddess of fortune. And um, uh, he attracts not only Narayan but also all women, headed by the goddess of fortune, the consort of Narayan. Everyone is attracted to Krishna, Narayan, Lakshmi, and all the all the women, moving, non-moving entities. So that's why Krishna gets the name all attractive. Like Prabhupada used to say, we may be attractive, but are we attracting the birds and the trees and the fishes, and every and the demigods? Can we be attractive that we can attract only, like, swajatiya? Male can attract female, female can attract male, but Krishna is all attractive. He attracts everyone, and demigods, and you name it, even Narayan and Lakshmi Devi. So this is one of the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam where Lord Krishna and Arjuna, addressing Lord Krishna and Arjuna, Lord Mahavishnu said. So this is the situation where Arjuna took a vote to save the Brahmana son, and he could not save Brahmana son. So he said, I will enter into fire if I cannot save the Brahmana son. And then he could not save. So then he looked at Krishna and he like, Krishna, what should I do? I have to enter fire now. And Krishna said, why do you always take so much trouble? Now come with me. So he made Arjuna sit on his transcendental chariot, and they went straight up, crossed the universe, crossed the Brahma Jyoti, and went to Vaikuntha Lokas. And then they saw Narayan. And then Narayan told Krishna and Arjuna, he said, I wanted to see both of you, and therefore I have brought the sons of Brahmana here. So actually, now usually if a son die, it is taken by Yamdutas or demigods. There is never in a history where Narayan himself comes and steals the child or steals a living entity, because one requires a lot of adhikar to go to Vaikuntha planet, to go to spiritual world. But here we see, just to receive the darshan of Arjuna and Krishna, Narayan himself stole the son. So he said, Narayan himself says that I want to see both of you, and therefore I have brought the sons of Brahmana here. After killing all the demons, please quickly return to your spiritual world. So Narayan told them, now I know why you went there. Now quickly do your job of killing the demons and go back to your abode. So this verse is quoted to show that Krishna is so attractive that even Mahavishnu, who is situated beyond this material world, that he attracts even Mahavishnu. So Ramananda Roy is speaking about Lord Krishna, how attractive he is. Apana madhurya hare, apana ramana, apani chahe karite alingana. Lord Krishna's sweetness is so attractive that it steals away his own mind. Thus, even he wants to embrace himself. So when he sees himself, like we saw, Rupa Goswami mentions that when he saw himself in the marble in Dwarka, he's like, "Oh, I have not seen such a beautiful person. I want to embrace. Who is this person?" So his sweetness, and this is one of the reason Gaurang Mahaprabhu descended. One, he was attracted to um, um, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kiddisho Vanayaiva. Swadyo Yenad Bhuta Madhurima Kiddasova Madhya. So one is Sri Radha Pranaya, the glories of Radharani's love, and then the happiness she feels, and then Mad Anubhavata, and then he wanted to experience his own beauty, his own sweetness. So these are the three internal reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended. This is from Rupa Goswami Lalita Madhav. These are all quoted by Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. Upon seeing his own reflection in a bejeweled pillar of his Dwarka palace, Krishna desired to embrace it, saying, Alas, I have never seen such a person before. Who is he? Just by seeing him, I have become eager to embrace him, exactly like Srimati Radharani. Just like she is so eager that her is Mahabhav. So she sees a tamal tree and she thinks this is Krishna, and she runs and embrace, and then she thinks this is Krishna. She sees Krishna everywhere. So just like Radharani is so eager for association of Krishna, likewise Krishna became so eager for his own association. So this is one reason he thought, like, such a beautiful person, and I want to enjoy the association of such a beautiful person. So he came in the mood of Radharani to enjoy his own personality also. Very unique. Um, Eita Sankshep Kahila Krishnera Swarup Ebe Sankshep Nahi Suna Radha Tattvaru. Sri Ramananda Roy then said, I have thus briefly explained the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now let me describe the position of Srimati Radharani. Now he further enhances the glorious Srimati Radharani. This goes in very, very deep. And that's where I even could not um, speak on this subject matter. Um, Sukha Rupa Krishna Kare, Sukha Ashvadana, Bhakta Gane Sukha Dite, Haladini Karana. Lord Krishna tastes all kinds of transcendental happiness, although he himself is happiness personified. The pleasure potency, the pleasure relished by his pure devotees, is also manifested by his pleasure potency. Like I have heard my spiritual master saying that whatever love a devotee has for Krishna, it actually Radharani manifesting in the heart. Um, um, we are attracted to Krishna because of the element of Radharani's tattva within us. So here, this is a reference. Bhakta Gane Sukha Dite Haladini Karana. Bhakta Gane, all the pure devotees, Sukha Dite, whatever pleasure they derive, Haladini Karana. The cause is Haladini Shakti. So this is Radharani's tattva that um, within us, but the pleasure we experience in the holy name or in Vaishnava Sangha or in any aspect of the Lord is actually Haladini Shakti. It's manifested by the mercy of Srimati Radharani. That's why her mercy, my spiritual master says, she has the key to unlock by which we can access the deeper devotions within us. So that's why devotees pray to Radhe Radhe, to Radharani to receive the mercy. Even Satyabhama, one of the queens of Sri Krishna, desires the fortunate position and excellent qualities of Srimati Radharani. All Dwarka queens. They There is a story one time in Dwarka, Krishna is married to 16,108 queens. And when Krishna was in the quarters, he would expand and simultaneously manifest in all the quarters. And then in the middle of a night, Krishna would in deep sleep, yoga nidra we call it. Krishna would sing Radhe Radhe, Hey Radhe. Even our Srinivas Acharya says Hey Radhe Brajate Lalite, Hey Nanda Shuno Kutaha, Hey Radhe, where are you? Are you in Raja? Are you in the bank of Govardhan? Are you in the bank of Yamuna? Are you in Vrindavan? Hey Radhe, Brajate, Lalite, Chananda, Shunakuta, Girivardhan. So where are you? So likewise, Sri Krishna was always, although he was in Dwarka, he was always absorbed in where is Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan. His mind was always in Vrindavan. So when Satyabhama, Rukmini, Kalindi, Jambavati, when all these queens would hear Krishna's Swabhav in this way, they would be like, we want to meet Srimati Radharani. And they met Srimati Radharani in Kurukshetra. When all the Vrajvasis came, along with Srimati Radharani, Lalita Vishaka and all the gopis and Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maiya and Subal Madhumangal, and they all came and they met Krishna after a long time. And that time the queens also. So Radharani and others were staying. There are many books written, like Gaur Govind Maharaj has a book, it's called Meeting in Kurukshetra. Um, um, so Radharani and others would stay in different chambers. And all these Krishna and the queens, they would have their own elegant, Krishna was a king, so elegant palace arranged where Krishna and others would stay. So one time they really wanted to meet Radharani because they wanted to know that how has she captured Krishna so much? Because they I mean, imagine they are with Krishna and Krishna giant name of Radha. So they so Radharani has completely captured Krishna's mind. So they wanted to develop such love for Krishna that they can capture Krishna's mind, but they could never do so. So here it says that even Satyabhama, one of the queens of Krishna, desired the fortunate position and excellent quality of Srimati Radharani. Like how glorious is she? How glorious is her love? All the gopis learn the art of dressing from Srimati Radharani. The way Srimati Radharani dresses, so perfect. All the gopis, when they look at Radharani, they're like stunning. They were like, wow, how um, um, like stunning dressing. So they learn the art. They learn the art of singing, the art of playing instruments. It is said that one time Vrinda Devi comes to Krishna, and one time Vrinda Devi comes and meets Lalita and Vishaka. I think we discussed something there. So they ask Vrinda Devi, where is Vrinda Devi meets Radharani, and Radharani asks Vrinda Devi, where is Krishna? So Vrinda Devi says, he's on the bank of Yamuna. So then Radharani asks Vrinda Devi, what is he doing on the bank of Yamuna? So um, Vrinda Devi says, he's learning dancing. And then Radharani is saying that who is teaching her the dance? And Vrinda Devi says, your image, Radha. He's seeing your image in on the bank of Yamuna and all the trees, and you are her teacher. So in that way, the qualities of Srimati Radharani, Ramananda Roy is explaining. The gopis learn the art of dressing from Srimati Radharani. Even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, and the wife of Lord Shiva, Parvati, desire her beauty and qualities. The beauty of Radharani, when Lakshmi Devi sees Radharani, she is like, wow, I wish I could be as beautiful. Like, this is natural in this material world also. When a person sees another beautiful person in a medical consciousness, he or she thinks, I wish I could be as beautiful as this person. So here we see even Parvati and Lakshmi Devi, when they see the beauty of Radharani, wow, we wish the qualities of Srimati Radhika and the beauty, everyone aspires for that. So indeed, Arundhati is considered one of a very chaste woman. Arundhati, the celebrated chaste wife of Vasishtha, also wants to imitate the chastity of religious principles Srimati Radharani. I'm sure you have heard the chaste lady in Vrindavan story, where Krishna became sick, and one nurse came and she told Mother Yashoda, Krishna's sickness will go away if a chaste woman of Vrindavan brings water from Yamuna with the but the in a pot which is full of holes, and I mix the medicine with that Yamuna water, and if I give it to Krishna, Krishna will be all right. And then everybody tried. Kutila tried. Kutila went, and all the water kind of dripped and made her completely wet. And Jatila said, you disgrace to the family. I never thought you were like this. And then when Radharani number came, then Jatila and Kutila started laughing that, we know who Radharani is, but not even a drop dripped. So many such beautiful pastimes that Krishna wanted to glorify. Radharani tells Krishna like, um, uh, everybody loves you, and if I love you, then there is a problem, and I am criticized all over Vrindavan if I love you. So Krishna felt the pain in Radharani's heart, so he performed this pastime of chaste woman of Vrindavan pastime. Our acharyas explain. Yana Sadgun Gan Ganane Krishna na paye par Tandra Guna Ganibe Kamane Jiva Cha. Even Lord Krishna himself cannot reach the limit of transcendental quality of Srimati Radharani. How then can an insignificant living entity count them? So even Krishna cannot reach the limit of the quality of Srimati Radharani. So Ramananda Roy is telling, how can an insignificant living entity count them? So now living entity cannot, like Brahma says in Brahma Mohan Leela, that if some fools and rascals say that we understand Krishna, let them think in that way and be in ignorance. As far as I am concerned, the master of this universe, I cannot understand the speck of your qualities. So this is one of Brahma's prayer to Krishna when he understood who Krishna is. So and that Krishna, whom even Brahma mm, cannot understand a speck of Krishna, that Krishna cannot understand a speck of the quality of Srimati Radharani. So how great is Srimati Radharani and how great is her qualities? And Ramananda Roy says, when Krishna cannot understand, nobody can understand Krishna. Krishna can understand the glories, the qualities of Srimati Radharani. How can an insignificant Tuchya Jiva, how many jivas are there in this universe? Trillions. There are trillions of such universes, and this is just 1/4 of the spiritual existence. Just imagine how insignificant is a jiva, and how can a jiva understand the qualities of Srimati Radharani, who is expanding in every jiva and exhibiting their love for Krishna through her potency. How can one understand the quality of Srimati Radharani? Um, प्रभु कहे साध्या वस्तुरा अवधि ए हया तोमारा prasade iha janilo nishchaya. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became ecstatic, and there are a lot of verses. After that, Ramananda Roy actually describes the form of Srimati Radharani, the compassion of Srimati Radharani, the bathing of Srimati Radharani. Her first bath is in compassion. Her second bath at noon is in youthful beauty, and the third bath is in luster. And it goes deep into into defining the different limbs of Srimati Radharani and how glorious they are. So, and what she wears and how she maddens Krishna. So in that way, Ramananda Roy kept on going on and on and on and on and on about the glory of Srimati Radharani and the pranay, the love of Radha and Krishna. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this elaborate explanation of Radha Krishna Pranaya, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Haladini Shakti Rashmad. So when he heard the love of the divine couple, Prabhu kahe sadhya vastura avadi ei haya tomara prasade iha janilu nishchaya. So one is called sadhya, one is called sadhana. Sadhana means I want to attain that love. I want to realize. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed these verses recited by Sri Ramananda Roy saying this is the limit of the goal of human life. Now Ramananda Roy went like very deep and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like drinking the nectar and he's relishing and he says this is the limit of goal of human life is to hear about this, is to chant these glories, is to understand the pranaya, the glories of Radharani's love for Krishna. Only by your mercy have I come to understand it conclusively. So Mahaprabhu tells Ramananda that by your mercy I understood it conclusively. Sadhya vastu sadhana vinu keha nahi paye. Kripa kari kaha raya pabara upaye. So sadhya vastu, sadhya is goal and sadhana is the means to attain that goal. So sadhya vastu is Radha Krishna Pranaya, is Golok Vrindavan. Sadhya vastu, sadhana vinu keha nahi paye. So without a proper sadhana, you cannot get the goal sadhya. For every destination, there is a process. Like if you want to become an engineer, doctor, there is a process to go through these medical college or engineering college. Likewise, if you want, whatever you want, there is an effort that you put in, and you have a goal. So likewise, for us aspiring devotees, our goal is um, Krishna Prema, the rasas, the mellows. So sadhana vinu keha nahi paye. One cannot drink by sadhana. Kripa kari kaha rai pabara upay. So please show your mercy, Ramananda Roy, and tell us what is a sadhana to attain this Radha Krishna pranaya, to explain, understand, and realize and attain the love for Radha Krishna, Krishna Prema. So the goal of life cannot be achieved unless one practices the proper process. Now being merciful upon me, please explain that means by which this goal can be attained. So this is very important. Mahaprabhu himself is making Ramananda Roy speak how to attain Vrindavan, how to attain Goloka, how to attain that mellow that you are talking about. It sounds so sweet to hear. What is a sadhana required to attain that? Raya kahi ei kaho se kahi vani ki kahiya balamanda kichu na jani. Shri Ramananda Roy replied, I do not know what I am saying, but you have made me speak what I have spoken. Be it good or bad, I am simply repeating that message. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is inspiring within the heart of Ramananda Roy to speak on the subject matter, and Ramananda Roy is speaking. And Ramananda Roy is admitting that. He says, I do not know what I am saying. Like we were discussing last time, Mahaprabhu used various instruments to glorify his devotees. Mahaprabhu never took any glory. He never wrote anything. He just glories of devotional service. He spoke through his devotees, like Haridas Thakur Namacharya, about the glories of the holy name. Ramananda Roy Rasa Tattva. Last week we discussed. Rup Sanatan Goswami on the Abhidya Tattva, the process of attaining Vrindavan, Vidhi Marg and Rag Marg. So everything Mahaprabhu uses instruments. So because they are pure devotees, they know that the Lord is sitting in my heart and Lord is speaking through me. So Rai Ramananda is admitting that. मोरा मुखे वक्ता तुम्ही हाओ श्रोता अत्यंत रहस्य सुना साधने रा कथा. Actually, you are speaking through my mouth, Rai Ramananda is saying, and at the same time, you are listening. This is very mysterious, very mysterious. You are speaking and you are listening, so I cannot understand this. Anyway, kindly hear the explanation of the process by which the goal can be attained. Now, hear carefully how to attain the goal of the love of Radha Krishna, that Mahaprabhu is personally speaking to Rai Ramananda, and he is listening and he is accepting and glorifying Rai Ramananda for giving the process. Sri Sanatana Goswami has advised us to hear about Krishna from a Vaishnava. He has explicitly forbidden us to hear from a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, a Vaishnava Mukhod Girnam Putam Hari Kathamritam. Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpochistam Yathapaya. This is from the purport. One should not hear anything about Krishna from a Vaishnava. There are so many people, like so many people on YouTube, not in ISKCON. They speak about Krishna, this Baba and that Baba, and the great, so-called great people. But Srila Prabhupada is cautioning all of us, don't hear anything about Krishna from a Vaishnava. Hear it only from devotees. However great a mundane scholar may be, milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effect. So Prabhupada used to say about the holy name also. Even don't hear Krishna Kirtan. Sometimes people are very much attracted to the sweetness by this person, that person, and this film star about Krishna song. No, don't make that mistake. And don't be attracted to Krishna Kirtan through, through melodies like very nice harmonium, very nice tune. Don't be attracted to that, but be attracted to the purity. One time I was, before I was associating with Detroit, I used to live in Grand Rapids, and every week I used to go to Chicago temple before. So there was a one very senior brahmachari there. Um, um, I used to associate with him and take guidance from him at that time. Jai Jagannath Prabhu. Um, so I asked him that there is a 24-hour kirtan going on. I mean, okay, this is controversial, so I would not say that. But he said that don't miss the kirtan ever in your life when it is spoken by pure devotees. When like Srila Prabhupada is singing or our spiritual master is singing, don't run away from Kirtan. Any pure devotees, very sincere devotees, when they are Kirtan, that will nourish our hearts. When our heart is nourished, we make progress in our Krishna consciousness. We are looking for that. So likewise, one should not hear um, um, about Krishna from a mundane person. However, because a Vaishnava is surrendered to Supreme Personality of Godhead, his talks are spiritually potent. We can see the Vaishnav if we are nourished while hearing Krishna Katha. So that spiritual potency, Krishna's mercy. When a pure Vaishnava speaks, he speaks perfectly. How is this? His speech is managed by Krishna himself from within the heart. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada speaks about Krishna Katha. So Prabhupada is telling, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mamupa. I give them the intelligence. So Prabhupada is telling a pure devotee, whatever he speaks, it's perfect. And why it is perfect? Because his speech is managed by Krishna from within the heart. So Krishna speaks through that person. Therefore, Ramananda Roy admits that whatever he was speaking was not derived from his own intelligence. Rather, everything was coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mata Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So Krishna says, from me comes knowledge, remembrance, everything I give them. So that ability was given by Krishna to Ramananda Roy. Um, um, and all our Vaishnavacharyas have the same views. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is telling, Madan Mohan is holding my hand is writing. So Prabhupada said, I did not wrote this book. Krishna wrote this book. He is dictating me from within my heart and I am just an instrument. So, and Krishna himself tells Arjuna that you are not the doer. Um, um, uh, Nimitta matram bhavasa visachi. You become my instrument. And same Ramananda Roy is admitting that you are speaking to me and you are listening. This is mysterious, but anyways, whatever you make me speak, I will speak for the sake of your pleasure. Um, Radha Krishnera Leela A Ati Guratara Datsya Vatsalyadi Bhave Nahaya Gochara. These are very deep. Um, Difficult to understand also. The pastimes of Radha and Krishna are very confidential. How confidential? They cannot be understood through the mellows of servitude, fraternity, or parental affection. So even the Radha Krishna Pranay is so deep that even a Sakha of Krishna or Mother Yashoda or anyone in parental rasa or anyone in Dasya rasa, even they cannot understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So so that's why Sri Prabhupada said approaching Radha Krishna is possible only through association of a pure devotee. A pure devotee can only understand Radha Krishna. All our line actually, starting from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is a supreme Lord in Radha Bhav, down our Goswamis and our Acharyas, all our line is Madhurya line, if you see, most of them. I mean, all the Acharyas. There will be many rasas at this time and age, but our line is actually Madhurya rasa. So they can only explain or devotees in Madhurya Rasa, pure devotees. Most of the, yeah, anyways. So only those in that rasa can actually explain the glories of Radha and Krishna. Sabe eka sakhi ganera iha adhikar sakhi haite haya e Leela Vistar. Actually, only the gopis have the right to appreciate these transcendental pastimes, and only from them can these pastimes be expanded. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy, what is the sadhana? What is the sadhana? And Ramananda Roy is like hearing the love of Radha and Krishna through those in that rasa. Um, uh, that is the sadhana. And approaching the leelas of Radha and Krishna through pure devotees, through the sakhis, through the gopis, not directly approaching Radha Krishna. Sabe eka sakhi ganera iha adhikar. Only the sakhi gana, they have the adhikar of Radha and Krishna. Sakhi haite haya a lila ra vistar. Only they can describe the Leela of Radha and Krishna. Now, I'm just touching the very basic conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. And the next verse, some of you may relate. Raganuga marge tanre bhaje ye jana sei jana pae vrajendra nandana. Raganuga marge tanre bhaje ye jana. Those people who worship the Lord through Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Marga Tane Bhaji Jana Se Jana. Those people Pai Vrajendra Nandana. They will attain Vraja and they will attain the lotus feet of Vrajendra Nandana. That is the sadhana that Mahaprabhu came to give. Srila Prabhupada describes, Rupa Goswami describes 64 angas of Vidhi Marg in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. By practicing that, one will come to spontaneous devotion. And then through spontaneous devotion, one approaches, um, like for example, here in this conversation, Radha Krishna Leela, through the Sakigana or through pure devotees in that rasa. Only they have the adhikar to expand the Leelas. It is said that Rup and Sanatan Goswami, their pranam mantra is there. It is said that they have descended um, to expand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna from Goloka to people in this world through the medium of their writings. So if one worships the Lord on the path of spontaneous love and goes to Vrindavan, he receives the shelter of Sejana Paya Vraje Vrajendra Nandana. They will attain the shelter of Krishna, Vrajendra Nandana. Vraja lokera kona bhav lana yai bhaje bhava yogya deha pana Krishna paya vraje. In his liberated state, the devotee is attracted by one of the five humors in the transcendent loving service of the Lord: Sakhya, Dasya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. But the process is following a resident. As he continues to serve the Lord in the transcendental mood, he attains a spiritual body to serve Krishna in Golok Vrindavan, and then he will access that. So all the teachings of Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are actually coming from Mahaprabhu's teachings through Ramananda Roy, or Mahaprabhu personally gave these teachings to Rupa Goswami also. And based on that, what Mahaprabhu came to give us, Rupa Goswami has written Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatman Asuchati Na Kanchati Samaham Sarva Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labhate Para. So today I was listening to a lecture by my spiritual master, His Holiness Radharani Maharaj, on Radha Ashtami. And he was mentioning that one has to be on a Brahma Bhuta platform to understand pure devotion. That's what Krishna says. This is what he was mentioning. Mad Bhakti Labhate Param. Param means the pure devotional service begins after Brahma Bhuta stage, when na sochati na kamshati, when he has no more material desires and no more lamentation. I want this, I want that, or no more material attractions. When that Brahma Bhuta stage self-satisfied in Krishna consciousness, then pure devotional service begins. And then this is explanation of pure devotional service by Rai Ramananda. अतएव गोपी भाव करी अंगीकार रात्रि दीना चिंते Radha Krishnera Vihar. These are very deep. Some of the verses we are discussing. Ataiva Gopi Bhav Kari Angikar. Therefore, one should accept the mood of the gopis in their service. Ratri Dina Chinte Radha Krishnera Vihar. Day and night, Chinte is meditate. Think of the Radha Krishna Vihar, the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. This is the process to attain Radha Krishna worship, to understand Radha Krishna worship, it should come from the mouth of pure devotees who are in that rasa. Um, um, uh, Following one of the Vrajvasi in that rasa and chintan, meditate on the uh, day and night. This is something that Raghunath Das Goswami asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He asked Mahaprabhu, what is the duty of a man in renounced order? This is not necessarily for renounced order. Some of the principles applies to all the orders, but Raghunath Das Goswami was in renounced order. So he asked Mahaprabhu directly, what is what is a person in renounced order supposed to do? And Mahaprabhu said, Gramya katha na kahibe, don't speak gossip. Gossip means criticism, faults, mundane subject matters. Gramya katha na kahibe, gramya katha na sunibe. Don't hear mundane subject matters. Otherwise, very quickly we degrade from our consciousness. Gramya katha na kahibe, gramya katha na sunibe. Then Mahaprabhu says, um, don't eat opulent foodstuffs. Um, and then he says, don't dress luxuriously. Don't dress opulently. Don't dress, um, yeah. Um, and then he says, Braje Radha Krishna. And then he says, always live in Vrindavan, although he was living in Navadvip, but in Manasik Roop. At one side, Navadvip, Vrindavan, non-different. Another side, wherever you are, um, in Manasik Roop, always live in Vrindavan and confidentially serve Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. So these were the instructions by Mahaprabhu to Raghunath Das Goswami. And that's what he would do. And he wrote very, very deep literatures on his aspiration, how he want to serve the divine couple. Um, um, so Ataiva Gopi Bhav Kari Angikar Ratri Dina Chinte Radha Krishnera Vihar. So this is the process that that Rai Ramananda is telling to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Siddha Dehe Chinti Kare Tahani Sevana Sakhi Bhave Paya Radha Krishnera Charana. After thinking of Radha and Krishna and their pastimes for a long time. So in the beginning there is sadhana. Sadhana means we are not there yet, but there's a practice of thinking of Radha and Krishna and their pastime. How long? For a long time. And after getting completely free from material contamination, one is transferred to the spiritual world. There, the devotee attains the opportunity to serve Radha and Krishna as one of the gopis. Siddha Deha Chinti Kare, and one gets the Siddha Deha. So now we know Krishna says whatever one remembers at the time of death, that state one attains. Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we have discussed this, that when we live in Vrindavan and we aspire to serve Radha and Krishna in a particular way, as our heart is attracted, for many decades, for a very long time, and when the mind is imbued with that intense longing to serve the divine couple in that particular way, then at the time of death we attain a siddha deha to serve their lordship, a suitable form to serve the lordship in that particular way that we have meditated while living in Vrindavan. And this is called Lalasmai prayer, where we see Narottam Das Thakur is also saying, Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishore, where he's telling that I will take permission from Lalita Vishakha and serve the lotus feet. I will make the divine couple. sit on the bank of Yamuna uh, on a jewel throne, and I will apply gandha on their limbs, and I will put malati garland around their necks. Divodohar gale. Um, um, and I only aspire Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dasira Anudas. I only aspire to be the servant of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Seva Abhilasha Puri Narottama Das. So this is like after many years of chintan, meditation, shravan, meditation. That's why there is shravanam, kirtanam, smaranam. Smaran, shravan, speaking on those things. Smaran, meditating. Um, um, for a long time in Vrindavan. Then that's the process enunciated by Rai Ramananda. Eta Soni, what was the reaction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after Ramananda Roy gave that process to attain the sadhya, the goal of Vrindavan? Eta Soni Prabhu Tana Kaila Alingana Doi Jane Galagali Karina Krandana. Then Eta Suni Prabhu, as soon as Mahaprabhu heard this, Tandre Kaila Alingana, he embraced Rai Ramananda. Doi jane gala gali means आपस में गले लगाए. करे ना क्रंदना, and Krandan is crying. So they did Alingana, Gala Gali, Karena, Krandana. So shoulder to shoulder, Prabhupada says, embracing. Shoulder to shoulder, like the neck, like this, shoulder to shoulder, embracing, and they began to cry. So this is the deep conversation between Saraswati Thakur warns devotees in general not to read this section because um, the nature is very deep of this section. Ei mata prema vesh ratri gonaila prata kale nija nija karya duha gela. The entire night was passed in this way. In ecstatic love of Godhead, in the morning, they both departed to tend to their respective duties. Actually, the conversation goes long. Um, um, so then they passed the night like discussing deep tattva, subject matter, and then they departed. Vidaya samay prabhura charan dhariya Ramananda Rai kahe vinati kariya. So before departing, Ramananda Roy fell to the ground and caught hold of Lord's lotus feet. He then spoke submissively as follows. So before departing, Ramananda Roy, he made a request. मोरे कृपा करिते तोमार इहा आगमना दीना दाश रही शोढ़ा मोरा दुष्टा मना मोरा कृपे करिते. Please show your mercy. Tomar iha agamana. Um, you have come here just to show me your mercy. So Rai Ramandara said, you have come here just to show me your mercy. Dina dasha rahi. Dasha means 10. 10 days stay here. Shodha mora dushta mana. Please therefore stay here for at least 10 days and purify my polluted mind. So request from Ramananda, please stay here 10 days at least and purify me. You have come just to show your mercy. Now, please don't leave. Because the very deep conversation, Ramananda Roy could not find anybody to discuss this subject matter. First time he found Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Vishaka Saki and Srimati Radharani meeting. Toma vinya anya nahi, jiva udhari te, Toma vinya anya nahi, Krishna prema dite. But for you, there is no one who can deliver all the living entities. Tomar vina anya nahi jiva udarite. Without you, anya nahi jiva udarite. There is nobody. There is nobody who can deliver. Um, who can deliver the jivas. Now, there is a one wonderful song by Vasudev Ghosh. I will just lead one or two paragraphs of translation. It's called यदि गौरा ना होइते ताबे ते को हिते केमोने धरितम दे Radhara Mahima Prema Rasa Sima Jagata Janata Ke. So I will read the translation. If Lord Gora had not appeared as a Yuga avatar in this age of Kali, what would have become of us? So Vasudev Ghosh is a great ag- um, घोष आदि गाया Gora Arti we say घोष आदि गाया. So there were three singers, there were three brothers. Vasudev Ghosh is one of them. When he would sing, Mahaprabhu's heart would melt. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling how um, Vasudev Ghosh will constantly sing for Mahaprabhu. And this is one of the songs written by Vasudev Ghosh. He is telling if Gaura would not appear as a Yuga avatar, what would have become of us? If Mahaprabhu has not appeared, what would have become of us? Probably some sense enjoyers and, you know, running after wealth, name, fame, and unlimited material anxieties. And I don't know. So Vasudev goes asking because whatever we are is Mahaprabhu has brought this to us. Before Mahaprabhu came, there was no Vrindavan. Vrindavan was unmanifested. Mahaprabhu manifested. Mahaprabhu gave the Maha Mantra. Mahaprabhu gave the Raganuga sadhana. Mahaprabhu gave the Goswamis and Acharyas. So if Mahaprabhu would not have descended, Vasudev Ghosh is telling, what would have become of us? Who would have been today if Mahaprabhu would not have come? Likewise, the same principle applies for Srila Prabhupada also. If Srila Prabhupada would not have come, where would have we been? How could we have tolerated living? So Vasudev Ghosh is telling, how could we have tolerated living? Life is miserable. So material world life is miserable. So where is any purpose in life? How could we have tolerated living? That's why the name of the song is Yari Gaura Na Hoite. Jayapataka Maharaj made a version of the song using this as the base, and he named the song Yadi Prabhupada Na Hoite. So similar, and he so this was taken from Vasudev Ghosh song, and the original song Yadi Gaura Na Hote. So he's telling how could we have tolerated living? Who in this universe would have ever learned about the topmost limit of loving mellows that comprise the glory of Sri Radha? Who would have heard the glories of Sri Radha? In fact, when Rupa Goswami and others found Gopinath, Govinda Dev, there was no Radharani. Mahaprabhu arranged. Mahaprabhu extol the glory of Sri Radha. So who would have ever learned the topmost? I mean, without Gaurang Mahaprabhu, before that there was Madhvacharya. We are coming from Madhva Sampradaya. Only Krishna is worshipped in um, uh, in Madhva Sampradaya. Um, there is no Radharani. So how have we have ever learned about the topmost limit of loving mellows that comprise the glory of Sri Radha? Who would have the power to render ecstatic devotional service? Means spontaneous devotion. Who would have the power to do that? Before that, only Vidhi Marg exists. And Vraj Leela, Vraj, I mean, Krishna came and left. Nobody knows about it. Mahaprabhu extolled the glories. So who have had the power to render ecstatic devotional service that follows in the footsteps of gopis? Who have understood the glories of the gopis of Vrindavan? Um, Indeed, the clever expertise of the Vraj gopis is a prerequisite for entering the supremely sweet forest of Vrinda Devi. Who would have understood? Oh, please sing again and again the glorious qualities of Sri Gauranga. Just try to keep your heart simple. Um, Try to keep your heart simple. Not even one person within this ocean of nations have ever seen such a magnanimous personality as Gauranga. And then I will read the translation on the last one also. Even though I chant the holy name of Lord Gauranga, somehow I still have not melted in ecstasy. How then have I maintained the burden of this body? And there is a lecture by my spiritual master just explaining this song. I think it's called Humility and Tolerance. I was just hearing that lecture yesterday. So this came, that's why I'm sharing this today. I think humility and mercy, or humility and gratitude. If you want, I can share that lecture. Those who want to hear. So, a very wonderful. Even though I chant the holy name of Gauranga, still have not melted in ecstasy. Um, how then have I maintained the burden of this body? So Vasudev Ghosh is telling, why am I living? Why am I maintaining the burden of this body? If after Mahaprabhu came and gave us everything, my heart, when chanting the names, holy names, my heart does not melt. How has the Creator fashioned this body with a stone in place of Vasudev Ghosh's heart? So he's questioning Brahma. How has the Creator fashioned this body? How he created this body with a stone in place of Vasudev Ghosh's heart? So Vasudev Ghosh is not telling that his heart is very hard. That's why it's not melting. But Vasudev Ghosh is telling that the Creator has put the heart in everyone, every living entity. But how he created me, that he forgot to put the heart within me, and instead he put the stone. My spiritual master says when Vasudev Ghosh will chant the holy name, Gauranga Mahaprabhu will melt in tears. His heart would melt. Everybody who hear um, Vasudev Ghosh chanting, they would cry in tears. And he was telling that because of the natural humility of Vasudev Ghosh, that he's thinking that my heart is not melting. I do not have a heart. Instead, I have a stone in my heart. Because he has such humility within his heart while chanting. That's why he is exhibiting such divinity that Mahaprabhu heart is melting. And because he has such beautiful consciousness, Mahaprabhu loved to hear his kirtans. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Ghosha Adigaya, that this Ghosh brothers, especially Vasudev Ghosh, they are singing and Mahaprabhu is, and the Arati, Gaura Arati, and the Arati to Mahaprabhu is going on. So, Ramananda Roy expressing similar gratitude for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Toma vina anya nahi jiva udharite. If you would not have come, then that how would have the living entities be delivered? We are today because of Mahaprabhu. Whatever we know is because of Mahaprabhu. Vrindavan is because of Mahaprabhu. Um, uh, um, for you alone can deliver love. That's why Mahaprabhu came. Uttama Adama Nakaru Vichar. He came not seeing who is qualified, who is not qualified, and giving them Unnotojo Larsa. Anarpitam Charin Chirat Karuna Avatarina Kalau. He's a mercy incarnation. He has come what no other incarnation has ever bestowed before is the mellow of pure devotional service. Um, and then we say Prabhu kahe Ailana suni tomar guna Krishna kathi suna shuddha karaite mana. And Mahaprabhu is telling, hearing your good qualities, I have come here. I have come to hear about Krishna from you and thus purify my mind. This is the natural humility of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why he himself promoting what he is practicing. Tinada Pisunichina, Tarodi Vasaishnana, Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sadahari. So he is telling, I have come to hear about Krishna from you and thus purify my mind. Mahaprabhu is speaking through Ramananda Roy, and he's telling, I am purifying my mind by hearing from you. So this is, we can see Vaishnav dealings from here. Um, 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 I heard in a lecture thinking that I am better than other devotees. It's not a very good consciousness. If we can maintain the consciousness that all other devotees are better than me, then the pride will not come. But if we think that I am better than other devotees, then the pride will come. And trust me, pride will lead to fall down. If we are not careful about properly managing the pride today, we may have to pay a very heavy price. Um, um, Very heavy price. If we don't want to see, We have two choices. No, pride is not external, pride is internal. Externally, we all will always be very humble, down to earth, service attitude. But Bhavagai Janardhana, Mahaprabhu is not seeing externally how we are acting with devotees. Mahaprabhu is thinking, Mahaprabhu is looking at our consciousness internally. What are we thinking? Am I better than these devotees? These devotees are very very kind of, they have no mercy of Krishna. They are struggling devotees. I am very nice, wonderful devotee. I have so much mercy. Is this what we are thinking? Or um, um, one has to be careful, because either it is said, either we take a humble position internally, or Mahaprabhu will arrange our life in such a way that we will be deeply humbled. When we are deeply humbled by the Lord, it's going to be a really painful experience. It's going to be a really tough time for us. Um, and then we will keep on begging and crying, and nothing will happen. Nothing will come for a long time till we actually establish ourselves in a humble position. Till we till we become humble, we are not going to get Krishna prema. So Krishna makes arrangement. Krishna will remove our anarthas. Now through this way. Now the idea is, okay, be careful with our consciousness. Here we see Mahaprabhu is telling, I have come to take your association, Ramananda. Your association and your words come from your mouth. It's purifying my mind. And Ramananda Roy is having the similar feelings for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This exchange is transcendently divine, where one internally from the core of our heart is convinced that Sangha is desirable, where one is convinced where each other, where two people come together and one person thinks this person is so much more advanced than me, I want to become his servant, and the other person thinks this person is so advanced than me, I want to become his servant. And when they both see each other, they both bow down to each other with that respect, not as a matter of custom. Like, you came, okay, ting like a robot and came off. That was Pranam Prabhuji. This is, means bhakti has not begun. On the externals have accepted. Very easy to accept, and to accept the etiquettes. Very easy. It's important. It's a training. It's vidhi mark. It's a training. But then, okay. There is a question. I will take that question also. Um, so, um, if we, um, um, what sangha we desire, we want to be in, like, see, when two devotees both are feeling that this devotee is so much better, other devotee feels this devotee is so much better. In that sangha, Krishna manifest. In that sangha, there is joy. There is, that's actually association. It's so pleasing to be in that sangha. And yeah, so there is one question I received from one of the devotees here: how to see others who are not so strict in their sadhana externally and interested in prajalpa. How to how to how to see others. Okay, now Prabhu, something something here is uh, um, my spiritual master says we should have discrimination means um, this association is desirable, this association is not desirable. We are not blind. So Srila Prabhupada used to say, to call a thief is all right, but somebody who is not a thief, if you call him a thief, he says in Bhagavad Gita, in uh, one of the purport, I think 13th chapter, qualities of a Vaishnava. There he says to call a thief is okay, but someone who is not a thief and you call him a thief, then we get a reaction. So um, we should discriminate. We should see who is sincere devotee. Um, we should find the sangha. This is something practical. We should find the sangha that is nourishing, that is like real association, Krishna in the center, and stay more and more in association of those in such kinds of devotees. um, um, but for sure, um, the the mind um, presents ourselves. See, there is false ego within us, and the false ego tells us that uh, I am a I, I am a better devotee than these other devotees. I chant more sincerely than them. I have more taste than them. Um, I have more service attitude than them. I have, um, or whatever, or whatever. Um, I have more devotion than them. There is something more than others, and that thought process. Now, if we encourage that thought process, then slowly that thought process spreads everywhere, and we start with someone who is maybe new. Then we start thinking that I am better than my equals. Then we go to the point, I am better than my seniors. Then it keeps on going, and the false ego keeps on inflating, and it convinces us that I am best among all. So it all begins small. It all begins small because um, this is called being careful in our own, with our own consciousness, in our Krishna consciousness. Then if once that starts happening, then we will start seeing others as our competitors, not as somebody. Then if somebody else is doing a service better than I do, then we will start developing envy towards them. And this whole material is called a material whirlpool. It's like, degrade, degrade. And then the consciousness is not very recommended. So then what Krishna does? Then Krishna will give us a heavy blow, Prabhu. Krishna will tolerate, then Krishna will tolerate, then Krishna will tolerate. Krishna will tell you within your heart, it's not a good consciousness, Prabhu. It's not a good consciousness, Prabhu. It's not a good consciousness, Prabhu. But then we will continuously fail to rectify our consciousness. Tolerate, tolerate some more, tolerate some more. And then Krishna will make arrangements. When he make that will be really painful, bro. Really painful. So then, see, at some point of time, we will be humbled. My spiritual master says, the more higher we go, the deeper we fall. The more we inflate the ego, the more there will be pain. And if you jump from there to here, it's really painful. If you're only this much height, to fall is not so much pain. If you go to that much height, it's really a hard struggle. So, so here we see that Mahaprabhu, um, his consciousness is, you are purifying my mind, Ramananda Roy. And Ramananda is like, my lord, please stay for some more days. Your association is purifying my mind. This is Sangha, Prabhu. This is Sangha. So something we need to have such association. And then we need to have association of really sincere devotees where we open our heart and we discuss Krishna Katha. And um, now see, a humble person, nobody is envious of a humble person. Why? Because he's always down to the earth. Nobody's envious. Everybody wants a humble person to grow. Everybody desires success of a humble person. But proud person, see, even the devotees will sense our pride when we are proud. That's it can be seen as one of the reaction itself. When we become proud, Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart, and everybody will know this person is proud, and they would not like it because Vaishnavas don't like proud people. And when they don't like it, knowingly, unknowingly, without saying anything, we are collecting curses. It's very deep. Knowingly, unknowingly, we are collecting curses. Nobody knows. Nobody, no mistakes happened. But see, there is an internal reason, there is an external reason. Internal reason is the consciousness is not good. Then externally it will manifest in such a way that we will lose our mercy. That's why it is said pride becomes before fall. So first pride comes, and then there is an external arrangement made, and then we fall down. Then pride comes, then fall down, then pride comes, then fall down. One time, one devotee asked one question to my spiritual master: among the six anarthas, which is the most deadly anartha, most difficult to overcome? And he said all anarthas are difficult, but he said among the six, false pride. False pride is the most difficult. Why we are unable to maintain our consciousness? Because of pride. Why we commit offenses? Because of pride. There is this black ball within us. This black ball is called false ego. false ego, and that false ego is there to make us feel that we are great. When somebody glorifies, false ego is inflated. Um, Actually, my spiritual master says, you know, it's a curse when somebody glorifies us. Somebody says, you are great, you sing very nicely, you do this very nicely. Then, we develop false pride that I do this thing very nicely, I sing very nicely, I chant very nicely, I serve very nicely. When devotees glorify, and because our consciousness is not trained that we can give glories to Guru and Krishna, like here we see when they are always giving glories to each other within their heart, not just the words. Within their heart, they are giving glory. So when that thing is not there, otherwise, if we are in position of Haridas Thakur and the Lord makes us speak the glories of the holy name, we will start thinking, wow, I spoke so nicely about the glories of the holy name. And this is ahankar. And when Krishna reciprocates, then glories comes. And when glories comes, Krishna will make you famous because Krishna is pleased with you. When Krishna is pleased with you, all these things will come. And when glories comes, then pride will come. And then when pride comes, then our our consciousness, which in the beginning was trying to do the service for the pleasure of Krishna, our consciousness starts degrading, and it goes into I am doing this service not for the pleasure of Krishna, partially for the pleasure of Krishna and partially some show off, some show off. Um, um, I want others to know how great I am, and and then if we're not careful with our consciousness, I mean, all of you are excellent. Whatever I'm speaking to myself because I am the victim here. And then we become incriminated. If we think, if we think, um, okay, wherever there is a thought that, um, anyways, so Dashadinera ka katha Yavat ami jiba, yavat tomara sanga, chadite nariba. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued to say nothing of 10 days. As long as I live, I shall find it impossible to give up your company. Mahaprabhu is so impacted by association of Ramananda Roy. And Ramananda Roy is so much relation with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Mahaprabhu told Ramananda Roy, I cannot give up your association in this life. What are you talking 10 days? 10 days is nothing. As long as I live in this, my manifest pastimes, I'm not going to stay away from you. Nila chale tumi ami. Abhi, what is Mahaprabhu telling? Mahaprabhu is telling, Nila chale tumi ami. So he's telling, come to Nilachal, come to Puri, stay with me there. Thakibe ekasanga, and we will stay together. So he's telling 10 days I cannot live. Please, at least 10 days stay here, purify my mind. Mahaprabhu is telling your katha is purifying my mind. So then Mahaprabhu is telling, I tell you, you come to Nilachal and we stay together. Just think about it. The power of the association. Sukhe gonai bukal, Krishna Katha Range, and then he says, you come together, we stay together. What do we do? Staying together. We will discuss about Krishna. We're not going to discuss Prajalpa. We're not going to say what devotee is doing, what, how is one doing, who is doing bad, who is doing good. We are going to discuss about Krishna. Just like we're discussing now about Krishna, about the love of Radharani for Krishna, about the process, about the process of achieving the goal of Vrindavan, how to do, when to do, and the form of Radharani and the attractive beauty of Shri Krishna. So you come and we'll discuss just this. That's it. So we will pass our time together in joy, talking about Krishna and his pastimes. So that's what we are going to do, just like what we are doing now. So only Krishna is in the center. And he said, you come and we stay together. Mahaprabhu just now, he met uh, that Brahmana um, uh, uh, from that village. What is the name of that village? Uh, Kurma Brahmana, Kurma Brahmana, Kurma Brahmana. Okay, yeah, 2, 3, 4 weeks back we discussed. So he said, I want to come with you. And Mahaprabhu said, no, stay here. Mahaprabhu said, you cannot come with me. Stay here. Always chant the holy name. Preach Krishna consciousness. And we will always be together. We'll never be separated. But when Ramananda Roy said the same thing, Mahaprabhu said, no, you come with me. Leave, give up everything. Give up your job. Give up everything and just stay with me and we'll discuss about Krishna. So Mahaprabhu gave different instruction based on different adhikars, different instruction, different time, place, circumstances. On one occasion, the Lord inquired, of all type of education, which is the most important? Ramananda Roy replied, no education is important other than the transcendental devotional service of Lord Krishna, which is the most important education. The education about how to practice pure devotional service. That is the most important education. And people are very much interested in all kinds of education, but people are not interested to hear about pure devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Ramananda Roy, out of all glorious activities, which is the most glorious? So there are a lot of question answers. This is on another night actually. These are not all the verse in sequences, but just for the sake of brevity, conciseness. So then they departed, and then the next night again on the bank of Yamuna in the night. And these pastimes and this discussion happens only in the night. Only in the night. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Antir Leela, through the day, he will be in external consciousness. Relatively, he will preach and he will go to Jagannath Puri to perform his deities, to perform his service to the deities. He'll go to Haridas Thakur every day to give his mercy and talk to him. And he'll do many, many things. But when it comes to the night, he would lock himself and either with Ramananda Roy or Swarup Damodar, and he would exhibit Mahabhav and supremely ecstatic emotions in the nights. So time also plays a role. So it is said that a devotee should, Rupa Goswami says, externally act as a vidhi bhakta. In other words, you do all the activities, services, preaching, and in the night you cultivate another mood, if you want to. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Ramananda Roy, out of all glorious activities, which is most glorious? And Ramananda Roy said, that person who is reputed to be a devotee of Lord Krishna enjoys the utmost. So he is most glorious. What is most? Who is most glorious? Most famous? And who is a devotee of Lord Krishna? He is most glorious. So some things like Prabhupada quotes from Garuda Puran. Brahmanam sahasrebhya shastra yaji vishishyate. So Sahasra is thousands. Brahmanam Sahasrebhya. Among thousands of Brahmanas, Sastra Yaji Vishishyate. Some of them can perform. Yaji means sacrifices. According to scripture, scriptural sacrifices. Vishishyate means some very qualified. One very qualified special Brahmana is qualified to perform Shastra Yagya. Shastra Yaji Sahasrebhya. Among thousands who perform, among thousands of those qualified Brahmanas who perform Yagya, Sarva Vedanta Parana. Some can go beyond the teachings of the Vedantas. Some can go beyond. Sarva Vedanta with Kotya. Among Kotya means thousands, many thousands of those who have gone beyond that. Vishnu Bhakta Vishishyate. One can become a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Vaishnavanam Sahasrebhya. And among those thousands of devotees of Vishnu, Ekanti Eko Vishishyate. One can dedicate one's life to serve the Lord. So that's how the devotee is most glorious. It is said that out of thousands of Brahmanas, one is qualified to perform sacrifices, and out of many thousands of such qualified Brahmanas, one learned Brahmana may have passed beyond all Vedic knowledge. And yet, out of thousands of such Brahmanas, one may be a Vishnu Bhakta, and he is most famous. Out of many thousands of such Vaishnavas, one who is completely fixed in the service of the Lord is most famous. In these, a person who is completely dedicated to the service of the Lord certainly returns home back to Godhead. This is from Garuda Puran, that how one whose ekanta goal is Krishna, pure devotional service back to Godhead. That's the only one goal. And whatever they do, whether it is external work, that is also focused on one same goal, that going back to Godhead, Krishna worship, then that person is most glorious. This is from Brihad Naradiya Puran. Prabhupada quotes many things how a devotee, becoming a devotee of Krishna is most fortunate, most glorious. So Brihad Naradiya Puran, it is further stated, Adyapicha Muni Shrestha, Brahmadya Api Devata. Until now, even the great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva did not know the influence of a devotee. So there is a particular pastime, I don't know the story, but this line comes that until this point, even Brahma and Shiva did not know the influence of a devotee. We see that Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Even to Lord Shiva, I cannot do anything. Brahma, I cannot do anything. Vishnu will help, and Vishnu said, well, my devotee, go to my devotee. I am helpless in front of my devotee. And even Lord Shiva, later on, he tells to Parvati, Narayana Parayana, that a devotee is most rare. Narayana Vyuhastava states, I do not aspire to take birth as a Brahma, if that Brahma is not a devotee of the Lord. I shall be satisfied simply to take birth as an insect if I am given a chance to remain in the house of a devotee. So a devotee is praying that I don't want the birth of a Brahma, but rather let me become an insect if I can be insect in the house of a devotee. At least I will hear the holy names of a Vaishnava. So the glories of a devotee. Brihad Vamana Puran, Lord Brahma tells Brigu, I underwent meditation austerities for 60,000 years just to understand the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. To understand the glories of the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis, Brahma is telling, I underwent austerity in meditation for 60,000 years to understand how glorious is the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. Still, I could not understand it. So Brahma is telling Brigumani, I still cannot understand the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. And we may think, yeah, I know the glories of the gopis. They are in the highest love, but cannot understand. Insignificant, minute jiva cannot understand. Mahaprabhu is extolling the love of the gopis. Um, hmm. Narad Muni says, among all the devotees, among all the worship of the gopis is the best. Narad Muni says, now worshipping them. Now, when we hear about their pastime, we think, oh, what is happening there? How can they do like this? But Narad Muni is telling, worshipping them among all form of worshipping the gopis is the best form of worship. So there is there's a difference in what I think. That's because we are not able to understand them because we're not liberated souls. Because um, when we hear Radha Krishna pastimes or Krishna pastimes with the gopis, if we're not liberated souls, we'll bring them to a material platform and we will understand them from our platform. So we have to become glorious, liberated souls to have understanding about them. Otherwise, why would Uddhav Mahashay want to become a blade of grass? He's not an ordinary devotee. He's the best devotee of Dwarka. He is considered Brahma. Krishna tells Dwarka that you are dearer to me than Brahma, Shiva, and Lakshmi. You are dearer to me than all of them. You are the best among all the devotees. In that way, he told to Uddhav. And he want to become a blade of grass so he can receive the dust from the lotus feet of the gopis. So cannot understand. I mean, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is performing such pastimes with them. So cannot understand what will be their glories. I mean, the glory of their love. I mean, Krishna doesn't even give darshan to us, bro. we completely talking about myself. Can't even chant properly, bro. So, Mahipal Prabhu.
There's one question here when Lord Brahma says gopis, even the Jiva Tattva gopis also.
They are eternal gopis, right?
Okay.
I mean, they came with Krishna. Understood?
Okay. How is it that even Lord Shesha couldn't understand but gopis, even in spite of their tattva?
Yeah, even Lord Shiva, you read further. Still, I could not understand to say nothing of me. Even Lord Shiva, Lord Shesha, and the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, could not understand it. Actually, Prabhuji, to understand the glories of Gopi's love, only that rasa, like we saw before, where Ramananda Roy said, not even Madhurya, not even Sakhya, Vasalya, Dasya. That helps.
Yeah, okay. Thank
Okay. Um, then Lord Krishna himself says in Adi Puran, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, goddess of fortune, and even my own self are not as dear to me as the gopis. Of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the topmost. So when we cannot understand the dust of Brahma is doing 60,000 years tapasya to understand the dust of the lotus feet of gopis. How can we ever understand the glories of Srimati Radharani? This is impossible. This cannot understand. So, and Krishna is telling, even my own self are not as dear to me as the gopis. So, Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi are definitely no way compared to um, how dear I am to them. I myself is not as dear to myself as the gopis. um, so there is a very high bar to understand them. So that's why Prabhupada says, that don't go into this venture and misunderstand them. Um, and that's why this is considered most controversial subject matter, because we don't want to offend the gopis. Otherwise, kya hoga hamara? So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked of the many. So this was like, um, um, who is most glorious, and a devotee of the Lord is most glorious. Among them, how glorious are the gopis, and what to speak about the glories of Srimati Radharani is just beyond imagination. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked of the many capitalists who possesses great riches, who is the topmost? Matlab, who is the most wealthy person? We are all trying to become wealthy persons. I mean, I'm sure none of us are trying to become wealthy persons, but people in general trying to become wealthy persons. Who is the most wealthy person? Ramananda Roy replied, he who is richest in love for Radha and Krishna is the greatest capitalist, who has that love for Radha and Krishna in his heart. He is the most wealthy person. Um, Very beautiful pastime of Kolobecha Sridhar. Kolobecha is like, banana leaf seller. That's why it's called Kolobecha. Kolabecha Sridhar. Um, Mahaprabhu every day would go and bargain, and he would, Kolavicha Sridhar would say that this banana leaf is for this much money, and Mahaprabhu says, I will give you half, and then he said, no, it's worth this much. I at least need this much, and Mahaprabhu said, no, I will give you only half of this. Then Kolavicha Sridhar would say, okay, if you want to give half, then there are so many banana leaves, unless you go and buy from somewhere else banana leaves. And Mahaprabhu said, no, I'll buy it only from you, and I'll buy it for half only. And then Kolovicha, when he would agree to half, and Mahaprabhu said, no, it's not even worth half. I will give you 1/4. And for 2 hours, Mahaprabhu would bargain, and ultimately he will take all the goods of Kolovicha Sridhar for free. So, and Kolovicha Sridhar is like the poorest person. It is said there are more holes in his clothes, and he would live in a hut. And the hut he would live in, when it would rain, the rainwater would enter the hut, so he would be drenched, and whole night he would chant the holy name of Krishna. And probably the poorest man, and his rates were in the market. His rates were the cheapest, and he would hardly get any money. And with whatever he would get, he would use 50% to worship Ganga, Tulsi and Ganga. He would worship. So, so he would worship Ganga with 50% of his income. And after that, Mahaprabhu told him that you are the richest person. You have a huge, huge, huge savings. And Kolavicha Sridhar say, I have a huge saving. I don't even have food to eat. I don't even have place to stay. I don't even have clothes to wear. You're telling I'm the richest person? Mahaprabhu said, yes. One day I will expose your hidden treasury. And that Mahaprabhu was referring to Kolavicha Sridhar's love for Krishna. Love for Krishna. So he's the richest person who has the love for Radha and Krishna. He's the spiritual masters. Um, um, they are the richest persons because their heart is full of love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked, of all kind of distress, what is the most painful? Ramananda Roy replied, apart from separation from the devotee of Krishna, I know of no unbearable happiness. So uh, this really question our association. And we may think, oh, I want to get away from this devotee. I want to stay away from devotee association. And here Mahaprabhu is asking, there are so many distresses. How many distresses? Unlimited distresses. Nature of this material world, which is the biggest distress. And Ramananda Roy said, there is only one distress which is unbearable, and that is separation from a devotee of Krishna. So that's because we may not be able to understand it. That's because we may not have experienced the association of Krishna's devotee. But we can get a feel from the association between Ramananda Roy and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and what they are feeling in each other's association, and how much pain it is for them to be separated. So from there we can get a hint that um, real association where only Krishna is in the center, and especially if one is very advanced and one associate with another very advanced devotee, and they both have taste for hearing Krishna Katha. Most of the times, people don't have taste for hearing Krishna Katha. So the moment Krishna Katha begins, one feels like, I have so many things to do. When will you be done? I mean, time is ticking out. So then one cannot really appreciate Sangha. For that, one has to be very advanced and has to have taste for Krishna Katha, and the other person should be very advanced and have to have taste for Krishna Katha. And then when they discuss about Krishna, Krishna manifest, and both of them are thinking that this devotee is better than me, way better than me. I just want to become the servant of this devotee. Another devotee also thinks, and they both are very advanced in their practice of Krishna consciousness. And when they discuss about Krishna, when they chant Kirtan together, Krishna personally manifest in their Shravanam and Kirtanam, then we'll be able to realize that how separation from a devotee of Krishna. Now, devotee of Krishna, try to remember pure devotees of Krishna. But still, since we are not on that platform, we may not be able to appreciate it. But two pure devotees of Krishna, that then it probably will make a lot more sense there. So that is, so one should aspire. So one should at least theoretically understand that there is no more distress than such association, if whenever we get. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next asked Ramananda Roy, among many songs, which song is considered the actual religion of the living entity? What is the most important song? And Ramananda Roy replied, the song describing the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna is superior to all other songs. Song compared to Radha and Krishna. Now, it can be seen in many ways. It can be the Leela of Radha and Krishna, or uh, um, or oh no, I just noticed it is 9:05. I'm sorry, I lost track of time. Okay. So this is where we will end today. That song describing the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. It can either be Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it can either be pastimes of Radha and Krishna, but now Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't speak about anything other than Radha and Krishna. So what is the real song among all songs? It's the song of Radha and Krishna. Please forgive me. I was somehow did not notice the time myself. So, uh, any questions? Vanchakalpatarubhesha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी माता जी हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, Babuji.